polls are still open in Minnesota and western Wisconsin for another 90 minutes. Polls are now closed in 9 states, including battleground North Carolina, Georgia, and so many more. Latest results, CBS News is now projecting West Virginia will go to Donald Trump.
And so that map is filling in there. We're going to bring in political reporter Pat Kessler now to talk through this. So this is the road to 270, Pat, and we're getting these early results streaming in.
Yeah, West Virginia is an interesting state because there's also a U.S. Senate race in West Virginia that is expected to flip. Joe Manchin, the Democratic conservative U.S. Senator for many years there, has held on to that seat for Democrats, but he's giving up that seat, and now it looks like that could go Republican. And that is one of 3 Senate seats that they're really looking at flipping, the Republicans, to take control of the entire United States Senate. The other ones could be in Wisconsin with Eric Hovde. That could flip that with Tammy Baldwin. And also in Montana with John Tester. If these seats flip, then the Democrats who now control the Senate will no longer control it, and it will be a Republican Senate. And if Donald Trump is elected, that will mean something completely different than if Kamala Harris is elected.
Sure. We've seen 4 states so far get called by CBS News, 3 for Trump, 1 for Harris, that just being Vermont for her. But this seems to be in line with what you would expect so far to have Indiana, Kentucky, and West Virginia go Republican. Yeah,
these are what we call ruby red states. So yes, absolutely, this is something we absolutely expected. But now you got to look at some of the states on the East Coast like North Carolina and Georgia and Florida. We also expect to go red, but it's interesting to see how those votes are going to shake out. We want to look at North Carolina because Kamala Harris is absolutely making a run at that, and Donald Trump has won that twice. So we'll see which direction that goes, and that's the ones that are kind of the purpley states, the swingy states that could determine the election. And this is early again, as we say. It's going to be moving west over the next several hours, and then we will see perhaps some surprises in those swing states that are going to control everything that we see tonight.
Yeah, we've got our own neighboring battleground state, too.
Yeah, the battleground state of Wisconsin, which is too close to call. I have never seen a race this close in Wisconsin. I think it's just tiny percentages, little upticks here and there, and that looks like that one is going to go very, very late.
All right. Pat, thank you so much. We're going to check back in with Reg Chapman now, because we are seeing some long lines in some cases at polling places across the state.
Yeah, Reg Chapman has been talking to voters around the metro today. He's in Minneapolis talking with barbers. Any updates for us here, Reg?
Of people coming in to cast their votes. Actually, since people have been getting off work, they have been coming in here like mad, just keeping these poll workers very busy. Like you said earlier, we have spent some time on both sides of the river talking to people about the issues that drove them to the polls. Now, here in North Minneapolis, we spoke with barber Tito Wilson, who says many of his clients told him they did not vote today. They said that neither party has done anything for them or their families, and they were just tired of the entire process and were not going to vote. But others, he says, that he talked to said that they could not wait for the polls to open to exercise their right to vote. They say issues like crime, the economy, and access to the American dream is what drove them to the polls. Now, in the Rondo neighborhood in St. Paul, we did go into the Truth Center and spoke with some folks about what inspired them to vote. Now, many of the young people who come in here and use the center as a mediation type of thing to make sure that there's no gang and fighting half felonies. And a lot of these folks say that they came out to make sure they are part of the American process. All say they were compelled to vote. Now, some say they wanted to be a part of the process, and others say they wanted to be a part of the democratic process.
Finally, they have a chance to let their voice be heard and, not be ruled out because of a mistake that they made and, be treated like they wasn't, part of this country because they made a mistake, and they just felt like they're finally happy to have that ability to.
We wanted to have better opportunities for the Latino community. That's the main concern.
What we did see on both sides of the river is people encouraging others to vote, especially younger voters. We saw lines outside of Jimmy Lee Community Center there in the Rondo community, as well as right here at the Phyllis Wheatley Community Center in North Minneapolis. We are seeing people waiting, taking their turns, and make sure their voices are heard as they cast their ballots in this election. Jeff and Aaron.
Reg, thank you. Those voters have, of course, until 8 p.m. Now, we want to know what's on the mind of voters as they go to the polls today. That's why we have reporters all across the metro. And how does that impact how they're casting their ballot?
Jennifer Mayerly is live in Eagan, checking in on things there. How's it looking, Jen?
Well, pretty good out here. And, this dreary weather is not keeping people away. We've seen a steady stream of people coming and going all afternoon long. And we really appreciated that they stopped to talk to us, to let us know what's on their mind, especially when the rain was really coming down earlier today. And it's no surprise that there is a lot that they are thinking about. The issues are personal, from the economy to women's rights, foreign policy, and how their vote today will affect their family now and in the future. Voters told us they came to cast their ballot so they make their voice heard, and while doing so, emotions, well, they were creeping in too.
The anxiety is up. It's up, so everybody's kind of nervous. Everybody's just like, what's going to happen? From the last election, previous election, I think this one we have a lot at stake.
Hopefully we can get over with and people can get along. Whoever wins, I hope the other person accepts it and the country moves forward.
I was just thinking about my daughter and the future that she would want and that I want for her. Thinking about, what we've gone through the last 4 years and previous 4 years before that, and then comparing them both.
I just think about who could handle potential conflicts better, whether that's a foreign conflict or a domestic conflict.
And of course, you use our critical thinking to vote. This is our right and privilege to vote what is, for our country.
So a range of thoughts and emotions and issues that people are thinking about today. Now, we talked with the volunteers inside who said that steady stream of voters has really added up. There were some people who cast their ballot early, but 95% of people who could vote at this polling place or vote early have. So you know that a lot of people here in Eagan, at least at this spot, want their voices to be heard. It was interesting to hear already 95% of people who can vote at this location have. Aaron.
All right, Jennifer Mayerly live for us. Thank you so much. And that checks out, Jeff, because we've seen here locally in the Twin Cities long lines for early voting. I mean, we've been seeing that in the past few days, so not surprised to hear that from Jen.
Now, the 2nd Congressional District is one of the most competitive races in Minnesota tonight.
Kirsten Mitchell joins us live in Lakeville, where the 2nd Congressional District Republican candidate Joe Tarab will be hosting a watch party tonight. Hi, Kirsten.
Hi, good evening. They're still setting up. The doors open at 7 p.m. But we were out today talking to voters, and similar to what Jennifer just reported, we are hearing a lot of enthusiasm, but also some stress, too. A lot of folks saying they can't wait for the election to be over, so obviously emotions are high. But we did spend some time at a precinct in Burnsville talking to voters this afternoon. And while the issues that they were important to them did vary person to person, we did hear some commonalities. Quite a few said abortion and the economy. Now, Burnsville is part of the 2nd Congressional District, an area that is considered highly competitive. It's a suburban district that is split evenly between Democrats and Republicans. We heard from voters on both sides of the political spectrum, including an 18-year-old voting for the very first time.
I put in my vote.
And he's 18 today, so it's official.
Yep.
How does it feel to celebrate your birthday voting for the first time?
Feels like a lot of responsibilities.
For me, it's just making sure me and my family can afford everything, can live the way that we would like to.
I think a really big thing for me right now is women's health care and abortion rights and access.
And I think some of the issues are really important for people our age, and they want to get out there and make a difference.
Yeah, and at that particular precinct in Burnsville, there were a continuous stream of people. Turnout seemed pretty strong, and one election worker I spoke to says he has been doing this for several years now, and this was by far the largest crowds he's ever seen.
Okay, Kirsten Mitchell, great report. Thank you so much.